Good. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's see, we'll start off with our Pledge of Allegiance. Rosemary, would you like to lead us?
Sure. Everybody stand. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Danny Seremian. Anthony Herrera.
Here.
Gardo. Here. Rain Avalos. Rosemary Alanis.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open with public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public. This includes those on Zoom to address the board on any matter related to the commission that is not listed on the agenda tonight. Any comments? Any on Zoom, Joey? Oh, okay. All right, so we'll go on to item number 5 on the agenda. Any additions to the agenda that the board may want to add? Okay, so we'll close item number 5. Number 6, potential conflict of interest. Any board member who has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on a matter. Anyone have a conflict of interest?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 7. Number 7, approval of past minutes from June 6th meeting. It was a special meeting.
Make a motion to approve the meeting for June 6th.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay. The minutes are approved. Okay, item number 8, Letitia, treasurer report.
Okay, so I had to get my email fixed to get all this squared away, so I don't have a complete financial report, but I will submit that down the road once I get online access with this new US Bank. Right now, the current balance is $398,930.28. And as far as I know, every check that I wrote now has cleared with the exception of the ones that I wrote to American Kid Incorporation. And there were 2 checks, 1642 for $7,550 and check 1643 for $2,000. And I was told that the city also sent them payment, and they called me wanting me to cancel those checks and reimburse the city, but I told them, no, you need to tell them to cancel your city checks and them reimburse you. So that's where we're at with that. Other than that, everything else is good. And I think there's one invoice to the attorney that is in the email, but I think I just got it like yesterday or a couple of days ago, if I saw it. And that's it. But that's the balance right now, $398,930.28.
Any idea when the US Bank part of that will get resolved? Is that what we were talking about, the computer online issue?
Yeah, because they only have the healthcare email on the US Bank. So like right now, he was trying to load it, but it wouldn't come up again. So the only way I can work with US Bank is through that email because it's the only one that's on file at the bank. But it comes and goes. Like I told him, I was on it today because they were sending me information. I was printing it, but it went out again. So it could just be it could just be here. I don't know. Working at home. I don't know. I'm gonna go to his office
Okay,
down the road, and then I spoke to the bank, and we're gonna all try to be on one line so they can step me through everything. Exact, because once the link expires, like you only have 1 or 2 days and then it expires the bank, and then you have to start all over. So I told them today that I'll just do a phone call with them, and we can all be together to do this. They can step me through it. But right now, people are on vacation and holidays. The actual person that's handling this account for us now. And he's not available right now, so
okay,
it'll get there, just little steps.
okay, sounds good.
And they did send me all their fees that they're gonna be charging, because they asked what Union Bank charges, and it was only $3. You know, just the same $30 cancellation fee, just the same. I have them right here if you guys want to look at this, but I was gonna give them to Danny today so he could see it. I don't know if you want
We can,
to overlook it, but it's pretty much the same as regular.
yeah, we'll save it
Please.
for Nanny.
Okay. And that's it. And then as far as getting the second signatures, once I have access, then I can be able to go just like administrator of the account and then add whoever I need to add. And these checks are good. I already showed them. They said that we can both sign together on these. We don't have to order anymore.
That's good.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
it's just a little bit, a few more steps and it'll be done.
Great.
Yep.
Now, on that, I know Ken's not here. Our legal counsel, he's on the way. He was just gonna be a few minutes late. He was driving in from another meeting. But, the second signature, were we planning on having two signatures on the check, or just have a backup person to be able to sign checks if you weren't available?
It does matter to me. I mean, it just, I write out the checks and they get sent, but if you want two signatures, that means I'm gonna have to find her, we're gonna have to meet or however some way, because oh,
As a
okay.
backup? Okay,
Yeah, then I can just leave you the checkbook.
yeah. Cause at one time, my first term, I was a second backup. So, okay, I didn't know if we had changed it to we're gonna have.
No, I don't
two
think
per check.
anything's been changed.
Okay. All right, any, public input on item number 1, treasurer report? So anybody online? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2. Community services information regarding open swim fees. Do we have Anybody on that?
And unable to be here tonight.
Oh.
Danny wanted a number for the gate fee. But I gave you the paper that I have. I don't know if you want that.
Hi.
Maybe we could invite them to the next meeting, so they can give us a little more,
Update.
they can give us a little more information, from their end. Okay, so that concludes number 2. Item number 3, discussion of a second signature addition to US bank account as well as access to cancel check images for bookkeeping. I believe that we just discussed that. Is that,
Mhm.
okay?
I have a question really quick. What's is the expense sheet?
That's just an analysis
Okay,
report.
okay.
No, that's nothing. It's,
Okay.
Okay. Item number 4, proposal from Babe Ruth for a compression ice machine. That request and grant was retracted by Caesar Luna on June 1st, 2023. After approval was given for that item, it was a cryo cuff machine for baseball players. It came to our attention that that piece of equipment was actually a medical device and it needed a physician to prescribe. So that, for that reason, it was retracted. Any questions or comments on that item? Okay, we'll move on to item number 5. Representative from Adventist Health to present an update on our RFP partnership in regards to our mental health services.
Hey, good evening, council. So I have some really good news. We actually onboarded our social worker, licensed social worker. Her name's Raquel. The onboarding does take some time. We're at the end. As you're aware, being in the medical field, the credentialing process has just been completed. She's been onboarded to the site. We recently had a meeting to discuss her hours, which will be in the ED Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 9 to 5. And I believe the other 2 days are at the clinic with the same hours. We're going to have another meeting to discuss her training, which will more than likely happen at Selma Central, which is the clinic here in downtown, because they already have a social worker in their clinic and they have an established workflow. She'll then start her day-to-day at the ED at the hospital here in our department, and she will continue her work in Selma main campus, which is the larger clinic just side by the hospital, on the other side of the hospital. The only delay, I don't feel like it was a delay. I feel like we onboarded her in a pretty timely process. We found a qualified candidate for the funds that you guys have delivered to us. So we're excited. I know we had requested some, I call them analytics or metrics in January, but I think we'll probably need a little more time to, give you an accurate picture of what that looks like. I believe it was the addresses or location of the residents that are being served, the number of residents, and the type of behavioral health services that were being offered and referred out to. So I think at some point we'll make a request for a little more time because she's onboarding January 8th of this. So if we were to provide you with those numbers, there'd be 3 weeks worth of data there. And I feel like we need, maybe a few more to really give you an accurate picture. And we want to deliver that data. We'd like to come back to you next year and tell you that this is a major success for the community and for the hospital, so. Questions for me?
No, that's great news so far. I think we kind of understood it's going to take a little bit to start the process.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's great. We're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Anybody else any input?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, right now we'll open up for public comments on our partnership with Adventist Health. Okay. No comments on that item. We'll move to item number 9 on our agenda. Action items. Number 1, proposed budget for 23-24. All right, board members, did you find the budget for this upcoming year?
I'm just barely seeing this right now, so.
Debbie, could you provide a little bit of explanation? So it looks like you have an expense sheet for 2022-23, and then you, on the right-hand side, you have sort of estimates for the budget? So just to articulate what I see for the public's benefit, you have $4,000 for administrative services, $10,000 for legal fees, $10,000 for CPA. Is that for budget consulting or is that for the audit services? But
Paid way
Price
more.
Page is no longer our auditor.
Yeah, it's JW.
Then that needs to be,
What was the,
Way more than that.
yeah, because I think the proposal was like
yeah.
12,000 for auditing services.
We paid
projected.
him more than 12,000, the current auditor more than that already.
And I think part of that was some of the, like the budgeting consulting services they were providing. And I thought the intent of the agency was to continue with having those consulting services through Price Page and then having a separate auditor, which we would be legally required to do anyway. So that might need to be revamped a little bit, I would think.
But we are done with Price Page, right?
Well, my understanding is as an auditor, they terminated services, which I think
Right,
they should
okay.
have because they were also providing consulting, budgetary consulting
yeah.
services.
So the new auditor is that JWT?
Jackson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and those are,
that number is wrong.
yeah, those numbers need to be changed. We pay more.
And I,
Debbie, are you still working with, Price?
With Faust?
No, not at all.
oh, not at all. Okay.
Jackson's already done current.
And then you have the insurance through SDRMA at 3,500. You have elections at $6,000. Oh, I'm sorry, no elections because, okay. And then IT at 6,000. And you budgeted CSDA dues at 1,200 and proposals at 150,000. And then some miscellaneous expenses. So I see this as very much a draft concept. And I think perhaps it might make sense for there to be some revisions to it. Potentially maybe even some more to anticipate maybe additional administrative expense as well. So I'm happy to work with you, Debbie, on this so we can prepare, go from draft to final.
Okay.
Does the public have any comments on this item? We'll move on to item number 3. We do have a proposal from Selma Community Enhancement.
Mr. Chair, I think item number 2, the 2022-2023 audit.
Thank you. Sorry, skipped that one. Yeah, 2022-23 audits to be authorized.
It looks like before us, we have an audit from JWT and Associates. I don't know if is someone there from the auditor to,
That's the Rick Jackson that I've been,
right, so are you asking for the audit to be adopted?
just for your,
Okay,
and I'll send it on to the Fresno County departments that are requesting it.
so normally, at least in my experience, is that the auditor would come and present the audit and then answer questions regarding any questions that the board would have. And so my recommendation is that the audit be continued to the January meeting, January 2024 meeting, so he can come and present, or she, and then the board can then vote to approve the audit.
So we're tabling it, right?
My advice would be
Okay.
to
So
do
then
that.
should I have signed that? What you gave me, or
That
does it
was
matter?
just for him to be able to
Okay.
contact the bank.
Okay,
Make-
okay. Yeah, JWT and Associates is our new auditor.
A motion?
I have a question before we do that.
Okay.
So Debbie, you mentioned somebody was asking for it. It was Fresno
Fresno County.
County. Do they have a deadline of when they expect it? Oh,
They don't.
okay. Okay,
Just-
I didn't know
just
if we'd
real
have
quick,
to have a
since we're
special.
Talking
special
about the
meeting on it.
auditor. So I just normally every invoice that I get has a invoice number to our billing, but this auditor doesn't. So I just wanted to show you, like, cause just sends them like, I just get them like this. I put no invoice on the checks at the bottom of the comments because there's no number.
This is
That's
their
that's his
statement.
bill.
It's-
This is how he sends the bills. I mean, and then I just pay him. But I brought it up to Danny on the phone. Just because I'm just not
Comfortable
comfortable,
without
you know what
that.
I mean? You know, we always have an invoice attached to every check that I wrote with the exception of this auditor. And I just wanted to show you because I had said, you know, I don't know if you guys are seeing these through our email, right?
Yes,
They're
right.
supposed to be getting scanned and ran through, and I just wanted to show you so that, I mean, you know, they are auditor, I mean, they are a company and everything, but so my financial report is gonna reflect no invoice for those payments that I sent. The checks will be there, but I put on there no invoice on the comments, just because I always put an invoice to every check that I write.
So you would have the right to request the auditor to present invoices in a manner that is consistent with district practice.
Right, and I just wanted to show you guys because, but then I feel like if we do, then he's probably gonna like, okay, now here's another bill. You know what I mean? I'm just saying,
Shouldn't we have something like itemized? Because
Yeah.
I don't like this out-of-pocket expense. What's an out-of-pocket expense?
I know, and that I was, when I saw it, I was like, what? Like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, you guys seeing these? Is I've never had one like that.
I think it needs to be a little bit more detailed.
And then remember
and-
we had, remember that that's why the auditor comes and he gives a full detail of everything, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's everybody runs their business the way it is, but that's how I get you know, that's how they're sent to me and I send them because I said, is everybody screening those? You know, it says just automatic, okay, well, if I got it okay, so I mailed the checks, you know?
Yeah, so obviously this needs to be
But I've
revamped.
never been okay with seeing that like that out of pocket. What does that even mean? It
Yeah.
could be
Well,
anything, you know?
I am happy to reach out to the auditor
Okay.
and ask for a detailed line item
Okay,
invoice
that's right.
with an invoice number. The other thing that I'd like to work with you on is comparing, I think, the original proposal that the auditor provided with the invoices attached to determine if they're in sync.
Okay, because I don't think I got that. I don't think I ever got that.
Debbie, we had a
But that's okay, as
proposal
long as we get it.
from the auditor.
I'll
So
go
we,
back and look at
yeah,
that.
we'll have to compare that to ensure that the cost is on point. And then also I'm happy to reach out to him and ask for updated invoices.
Okay, I just wanted to show that to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's, doesn't seem adequate at all.
Okay, all right, good. I'm glad that's good.
Okay, Debbie, did you understand what needs to be done on this? Okay. All right, any public comment on the audits at this point?
And that will be continued to the January board meeting.
Do we need to make a motion to table it?
You know, since the audit is not technically like a noticed, I mean, it's noticed on the agenda, but it's not required to be published notice. I don't think it has to be continued formally, but I mean, you certainly can entertain a motion if you'd like.
We're
But
good.
the minutes will reflect that they'll be brought back for the January meeting with the auditor.
Okay, with that said, now we'll move on to item number 3. We do have a proposal from Selma Community Enhancement regarding Selma Fire Department grant and let's see, request for community CPR classes.
Hello, good evening, members of the board. I'm on call tonight, so if my pager does go off, I apologize. We got a PowerPoint for you to just kind of go through what we're proposing. A little bit about myself while it's getting drawn up. My name is Donovan Fulner. I've been employed with the city of Selma for almost 11 years. I'm a Selma native, born and raised here in the city of Selma and currently reside here in the city of Selma. So I do have an emotional connection to the community. I hope that my passion for making the community better is evident. Today we'll be discussing a proposal for a community CPR program to be offered to citizens of Selma. The total cost is approximately $4,980, $4,983 and 40 cents to be precise. We're going to start with slide number 2 and just kind of go over the importance of why CPR is important to the community. Throw it on slideshow for me. I'm gonna next slide, please. So the education, early recognition, and deployment of CPR is critical for survival rates within any given community. Currently, the 2021 data states that due AHA, American Heart Association, states that out of hospital cardiac arrests, most often what we're talking about when we would prescribe or deliver CPR, 43% of that is happening within homes and residents, 16% in public settings, and then 10% in nursing homes. If bystander CPR is not provided, the survival rate for those individuals diminishes 7 to 10% for every minute that defibrillation is not given. Again, according to the 2021 data, hospital discharge from a patient experiencing cardiac arrest to them going home and seeing their loved ones is less than 10%, 9.1%. So out of 100 people, 9 of them would actually go home. If CPR is performed immediately, those statistics double and sometimes triple. So CPR is fairly important. During the same time frame, data collected from 328 hospitals throughout the nation, approximately 33,000 patients who suffered cardiac arrests in the hospital, the survival rate for them was 22%. So having that early access to CPR and medical equipment drastically increased the odds of people going home. Next slide, please. Selma Fire Department currently has 5 certified CPR instructors on staff. Selma Fire Department has the ability to offer classes in both English and Spanish. What I mean by that is we don't have the materials to offer that, but we have, of the instructors, 2 of them are bilingual, so they can teach a variety of the constituents within the Selma community. Every 2 years, the City of Selma Fire Department personnel, ambulance, fire across the board, we have to go through CPR recertification ourselves. So a majority of the equipment is we already have. We already own it. So we've already gone through and invested so we can teach ourselves. My proposition is to use those materials that we've already purchased to help deliver a better service to the community. So we can do it a little cheaper without having to have as high of an upfront cost. Next slide, please. So my proposal is we would like to offer 8 CPR classes throughout the course of a year. Right now, AHA stipulates that we have to have a 9-to-1 instructor ratio. So if we have 2 instructors, we could teach up to 18 people at any given point in time, which I think would cover quite a few people. But our proposition is to stick with one instructor for 9 students and keep the classes small as possible, and offer 8 of those throughout the year on every month, basically offer a class. That leaves 2 classes left over in our back pocket to utilize to address any needs or influxes that we may experience throughout the year. And that could be parents wanting their kids to be CPR certified because they're going to be babysitting over the summer or lifeguarding or whatever. So having those classes kind of set aside to address any influx.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you decide who gets trained on CPR?
That would be a first come, first served basis. And residents of the city of Selma, it would be at your discretion if you would like to offer that to people who own businesses or are employed within the city of Selma. Initially, it's for citizens that live and reside within the city limits. Was the direction that I had, but if you so choose to offer it to people who own businesses or are employed here, that's your discretion.
How are you how's that gonna be made to the public or you?
Through a variety of advertising means.
Okay.
To be honest with you, right now, I've kind of done a little legwork. Without advertising or anything, we've got approximately 30 people that have called. This need arose not from me, crafting something up, thinking, and it's from literally people calling the fire department asking, do you guys teach CPR? Because I want, my kid or whoever, or somebody in my house to know CPR. And I realized that there's a need and a desire there from within our community. That's something that we're just not offering. And we have the ability to do that. It just requires a little bit of funding.
And how many people will be trained with this 4983? Will be
So
certified.
at the end of
Is
the
it-
year, that comes out to 8 classes, 9-to-1 instructor ratio. That's 72 people.
72 people. Okay.
Yep.
I would like to see the classes offered to people who would not otherwise be able to afford it.
That is why I'm proposing that is 100% why. You can go and take these classes. American Ambulance offers classes. The American Red Cross offers classes. The general consensus, and I'd be happy to show you, they're roughly $85 a person. My proposition is to offer them at no cost because of the community and the socioeconomic area that we live in. And so that's the purpose behind this. And
Right.
to be very blunt, in an economy like we have today, people aren't investing money right now into, CPR. They're paying rent. And so I want to make that available for them.
I agree with that.
I'd like to make one suggestion. If we can maybe write our questions down and ask at the end,
Okay, I'm sorry.
if we can do
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
that'd be
I
great.
thought you were done.
We can keep, I still have a few more slides, but yeah, we can keep going. I broke down a cost. So here's the cost basis. So the Heart Saver, CPR, AED, and first aid class costs $23 a card. Instructor materials that I would need is I need basically some books and a video in Spanish. We have those books already in English, but I would like to provide those for a variety of our constituents and include everybody or as many people as possible. There's another $116 in consumables, which are mannequins that we cannot reuse because they use them for mouth to mouth. There's really no way to wash them. So at that point, they're very cheap and they're one-time use. Next slide. The big cost of the lion's share comes from personnel cost. $31 times their overtime rate comes out to roughly $46 an hour that we're paying our staff per hour. The class is approximately 6 hours. So you're looking at $281 in personnel costs per class. I've also budgeted for 15 hours of community event CPR. And what that is we have a variety of really good opportunities to teach people that don't necessarily have the time or the desire maybe to, or even the idea that that's possible CPR. And what we can do is set up basically hands only where we don't go through the entire 6-hour class. It's simply, here's how you do chest compressions within your home. In the event somebody had a cardiac arrest, here's how you could perform CPR with very little information. And we can teach them that in a matter of 5 minutes. So my thought is when we have these public events like the Raisin Festival, Band Festival, our July 3rd at the high school, those kinds of events, we could pay. My thought was we pick 3 and we do 5 hours or however we carve it up, but to try to hit as many events as possible, to set up a tent, do quick demonstrations, bring our mannequins and people that are walking by, go, hey, you have 5 minutes to teach you something that could save your family member's life. And then the ones that aren't, I don't necessarily want to, I'm going to say it anyways, but I'm reaching out to Red Cross. They have been known to set up those same booths, teach hands-only CPR to try to counteract if we can pick 3, maybe they can pick 3 and try to kind of come up with a partnership so we can cover some big events that acts as an advertisement for people to show up to our classes. Next slide. So total cost, American Heart Association related items comes out to $2,028.70. Estimated personnel cost, $2,954.70 for a grand total of $49.83 and 40 cents. Have any questions? I'm sorry, I'm not done. So in the back of your packet, there's a breakdown of the expenditures along with little snippets from where we would purchase the materials and the associated costs. So.
I have a question. You mentioned like American Ambulance does the CPR training, and I know that American Heart Association has different programs of different lengths of time. Some are a few hours, others are I think 6 to 8 hours is the longest class.
So 6 to 8 hours is the longest class. To be very blunt, the shorter classes, they're getting rarer. They're getting harder to come by. The heart saver, CPR, AED, first aid is what a lot of people, that's where the demand is at. And so that's what we want to meet. Our American Ambulance does offer those classes. I looked tonight before coming here. They didn't have any classes for the heart save, the regular, just to show up and teach CPR in 4 hours. They actually didn't have any classes listed on their website.
Right. When you originally submitted this, I did go to American Ambulance, just kind of compare their rates. Do you recall how much they charged each person to
Each-
take that class?
Each person, yep, $85. It was the same as American Ambulance. I'm sorry, it was the same as American Red Cross. I get all the Americans. It was the same as American Red Cross. Both were $85. They do offer differences, like, so we don't have the ability to do this yet. You can do like a hybrid class where you do a lot of the instructional time online and then you show up and do a skills assessment. You know, that's an option. I don't necessarily think that that's something that I want to go down. I think we can make a pretty big impact with the hands-only CPR and an actual in-class instruction for those that want it.
I agree with you. As my job, I have to do the online portion.
Yeah.
And then go and sit in the class for 4 hours.
And do
So,
skill, yeah, exactly.
yeah. For, you know, the regular family member to do that, I think that would be cumbersome. So I'm glad you're doing the in-class.
I think they would probably get for somebody who doesn't, you're in healthcare as am I think for us to do it, you could get away with it. But for somebody who's never had CPR, who's interested in doing that, I think having the ability to have an in-classroom is important.
Are you done?
I've got a couple other things.
Okay,
unless
go ahead,
somebody
go
does.
ahead.
Keep going.
Let's see. So you did mention because I did notice, materials were for a lot of the Spanish,
Yes, sir.
part of it, but you explained you already have materials for the English part.
We
correct?
do, because we use the same books, we use the same stuff for we have the books already. Somebody purchased the books. We have the material already for the English version of this class. So all that we would really need is the Spanish. This is the Spanish. We don't, we didn't buy that.
Okay, perfect. All right. No, I think it's a really great opportunity, considering $85 is what they would normally pay, but you want to offer them free.
I broke down the numbers. If you extracted the Spanish material and that kind of stuff, if you broke it down to just CPR cards and personnel cost, we're able to teach that class at cost for $64. Which is,
Yeah,
which
that's awesome.
is, still
That's
cheaper
great.
by $20.
Oh, it
So we're
is.
doing right by your funds.
No, I mean, if you can help save one life, I think it's worth it. I'm totally behind you on this. Personally, the only concern I have is anytime you give something for free, sometimes, especially if it's a 6-hour class, somebody may say, oh, it sounds great, I'll sign up for the class, but it's free. They have no skin in the game. Are they actually going to show up? So a few weeks ago when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, well, maybe pay per for performance, you know, we'll pay on X amount of people who actually get their cards. But then again, this is new, it's the first year. I would like to maybe partner next year and the year after and year after. And so I'm willing to just say, okay, let's see how it goes.
I am 100% behind that. Like if I had my way, I would like to present next December and discuss statistics and how many people we taught, how successful it was, and hopefully I mean, I'm anticipating it's going to go well. Like I said, I've done some legwork. I've reached out to, and I'm missing her card, Mrs. Gianna Pritchett of the Early Childhood Discovery Centers. They own a variety of daycares and that sort of thing throughout the community. They own a few. And when I spoke to her about it, she'd be like, dude, I would love to offer, this class to all of our parents. I know our parents are going to love the opportunity to participate and provide this for their children, which is huge. And so I don't think that, I think there's going to definitely be a need there. I'm hoping that there's some skin in the game when we phrase it and advertise it. I can't make that promise.
Right. And I'm okay with that because again, I think if we could save one life, it's worth it. But I'm curious to see, maybe in 6 months, you can give us an update on how things are going and.
Put me down for July.
Anybody have any questions?
So it's CPR and first aid, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yep,
It's both of
CPR,
them.
first aid. So what's discussed is a variety of things. If you broke in your hand, here's how
Yeah.
you splint it. Here's how you use an EpiPen in the event that, I mean, they're fairly expensive, but in the event you got one laying around and somebody's allergic to something, this is how you utilize it. CPR is a big one, but it covers a variety of things, yes.
Okay.
And AEDs.
Yes, and
so-
AED, I mean, yeah, AED is a big one. That early defibrillation is very important in this, in the chain of survival. It's depending on where you're at, they may or may not be available, and I don't know many people that own one in their home, but if you're at the gym or the mall or whatever, do you, it discusses, one, how to use it, but two, how do you find it?
So my dream, since I started on this board, was to help fund AEDs in, let's say, major businesses in town.
Absolutely.
Because I actually have an app. It'll tell you visually where there's AEDs in the town
Oh,
of
that's
Selma.
cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if they're entered in there, you can see right away, like, where's the nearest AED. So, I mean, that's something
Very-
that I would like to get done at some point.
Yep.
Just wanted to make one point. The applicant here is the City of Selma Fire Department, but the grant money actually goes to Selma Community Enhancement, which is a 501c3. That 501c3 has received other funds this year, but there are other departments within the City of Selma. So the City of Selma Fire Department is a separate applicant, and I'm comfortable that this grant would, comply with the grant policy, the way it's
Yeah.
laid out.
Okay,
Lardo, you have any questions?
he's great.
Anybody else have any questions? Members of the public, any input?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
For the 4,98380,
Yes. Yes.
Anthony Herrera, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ishi Gallardo,
yes.
Mary Alanis,
Yes,
Thank you.
passed.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I think it'll be.
Just real quick too, I'll need a receipt for the 4,98380,
You're gonna need a receipt?
yes.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
From the fire department with that tax ID number on it.
I got you.
And
Okay.
then that's all I need.
Then there's an agreement that we make them sign.
Oh, yeah. Have that, huh? Agreement,
The grant agreement.
okay. Oop, I don't.
Sign your life away, Donovan. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Oh, that's the
proposal.
proposal. The actual grant
You know,
agreement
the
that goes
agreement where
with
we
the check.
put in the amount in the check. I could always go to the fire department and we could do it real quick one day. and give you
I'm
the
on
check.
duty. Yeah, 100%. I can give you my number and we can
Okay,
go from there.
just put it, is it on there or is it on here? It's right here?
801?
801, yeah.
Yep,
I'll
perfect.
text you, I'll call
Perfect.
you.
Perfect.
Thank you
Thank you
very
guys very
much.
much.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to item number 4, discuss topics for 2024 board initiatives for next year. And what this is for our grant of $100,000 in matching funds for next year. This year, our topic was mental health, which we partnered with Adventist here in town. So I'd like to discuss any possible topics for next year.
This is just a brainstorm,
Correct.
and then once the board makes a determination, you could either release a new request for proposals, or you could continue to your arrangement with Adventist. But the idea is that it is the large grant that the district has, and as the chair mentioned, it is a matching grant, which requires the other party to either provide cash or in-kind services equaling $100,000.
Do we have to come up with something right now?
No, it's just a
Oh, good.
brainstorm and then put items down. We'll come back in January's
Okay.
meeting and pick one. And.
Yep.
And this is open for members of the public too. It will take input. Any thoughts?
Not right now.
Right. My thought on it is, there is a huge need out there for mental health services, as we know, with just the state of the world in general, all the pressures and, I think it affects everybody, every family. I personally would like to continue with, supporting mental health initiatives, whether that be with, mental health, with Adventist. I know that we got started late in the year with the whole process of, funding. And like I said, as, they had mentioned, they're just starting to onboard their therapist. I would like to, if they can possibly come back with other enhancements to add on to what we've done this past year, possibly extend another year, with our partnership for Adventist. That's the only one that I'm really, passionate about. Anything else is, I'm open. But I really think there's another opportunity or a continued opportunity to really get that on board.
Yeah, I do support that because mental health, I mean, we did this when, like you said, late in the year, and it's gonna take more than a year to just even get it up and running and to get some kind of data. Is it successful? Is it not successful? So I'm open to that, and then I would like to come back and see if anybody else has any more ideas like Dan and,
Lorraine.
Avalos and.
Ken, as far as legal goes, if the board in January decides to continue with, mental health as an initiative, do we have to go through a formal process of putting it out to other organizations, or can we kind of go back with our partnership to continue?
It's totally within your discretion. So you can decide that. What you might consider doing, if that's the will of the board, is to have maybe an ad hoc sit down with the Adventist hospital staff to try to figure out exactly what this proposal would be, what enhancements you might offer, maybe also to get a more detailed status of successes so far on the program, so you are walking in with your eyes open about the program.
That's good. Any input from the public? Okay, great. All right, so that concludes item number 4. Now we'll pick a meeting date for January. The only day I know I have open is on Tuesdays for sure. Any Tuesday, I'm open.
I believe I'm open on Thursdays. Debbie has my schedule.
Late January.
She sent you your schedule?
Yes.
You might consider adopting during the January meeting, a more comprehensive full meeting schedule for the year. And
Yeah,
the weird thing about the Brown Act is it allows the administrator to talk individually with the board members. You can't talk about anything else, but you can talk about scheduling. So she could do a doodle poll or just individual conversations to
But
try
do we
to.
have to meet in January? Can we meet in February?
You absolutely can, because it's the practice of the board to
Okay.
meet quarterly. I think January was there because this meeting has technically been delayed by a month. So it's totally within the discretion of this board as to how you want to schedule. But I would strongly advise maybe a more maybe a consensus outside of the boardroom to bring back a year-long schedule for the board, with all 4 meetings on one calendar to be approved by the board.
Is that something that Debbie would get with us individually? You said?
Yes, exactly, and it's not a violation of the Brown Act. So my advice would just be to move this item to January, and then you'd have a full adoption of a board schedule. Or shouldn't say January, to the
February.
next board meeting. She'll email you and then obviously post with the public the details as to the next meeting.
Okay, so we're gonna wait till you email us.
Okay. Do we want to keep
Good
it in
decide.
January or do you guys want to do?
I say can we just go to February? It's, a lot
Okay with
going
me.
on.
February's fine.
All right.
Okay, our next meeting will be in February, date to be determined. Unless there's any other issues, meeting adjourned.
We don't have to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, you could either make a motion or just adjourn. 'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Adjourned. Thank you, everybody.